Today, we're going to talk about a really cool idea. It's all about teaching machines to think less like rigid calculators and a lot more like us, embracing all the messy gray areas of the real world. This idea, it's called fuzzy logic.
Think about it. Computers are amazing, right? But they tend to see everything in black and white. So what if we could teach them to handle the gray areas? You know, all the maybes and sort-ofs that make up our everyday lives. Well, that's exactly the promise of fuzzy logic.
Just pay attention to how you talk for a day. We say things like, the weather is a little cold, or that music is pretty loud. Now, these terms are vague, right? What's pretty loud to me might be totally fine for you. Our language and our entire world is just filled with this kind of beautiful ambiguity. And that right there is the fundamental clash. See, computers traditionally run on something called Boolean logic, and for them, everything is absolute. It's either true or false, yes or no, 1 or 0. There's just no room for kinda, which makes it almost impossible for them to understand our very human, very fuzzy way of communicating.
So, let's actually dig into these rigid rules that are running pretty much every digital device you own. Your phone, your laptop, you name it. Let's see where this black and white thinking starts to fall apart.
So at its heart, Boolean logic is simple. An answer is either a hard 0 or a hard 1. And while that's incredibly powerful for pure math and computing, it starts to crack when it has to deal with real-world nuance. In fact, this limitation can lead to some surprisingly, jerky situations.
And to see exactly what I mean, let's imagine we're building an AI-powered car that's supposed to keep a nice steady speed. So the engineers gave it a very simple, very Boolean rule. If the car is going over 40 kilometers per hour, it's fast. If it's under 40, it's slow. It's just a hard, digital line drawn in the sand.
Now just picture what happens. At 39.9, the AI says, "We're slow," and hits the gas. But then, a split second later, it overshoots to 40.1. Now the rule says we're fast, so it slams on the brakes. It drops back down to 39.9 and, yep, it hits the gas again. This would be the worst car ride of your life.
Exactly. Just jerks. The car would be trapped in this ridiculous loop, constantly lurching between accelerating and braking, all because of that one rigid black and white rule. This is where we desperately need a new way to think.
And this is where fuzzy logic comes in and offers this beautiful, elegant solution. Instead of forcing the AI to think in these absolutes, we can teach it to think in degrees.
And we have a brilliant man named Lotfi Zadea to thank for this. He's known as the father of fuzzy logic, and he basically realized that to make machines truly smart, we had to get them past this simple on or off, 0 or 1 way of thinking.
Now, what's really important to get here is that fuzzy logic doesn't throw out the old rules. It just expands on them. It basically says, hey, what if something could be partially true? So instead of just 0 for false and 1 for true, you can have a 0.2 or a 0.5 or a 0.8. You can have a degree of truth.
And this is the perfect way to think about it. Boolean logic creates that hard wall we saw at 40 kilometers per hour. But fuzzy logic? It replaces that wall with a smooth, gentle ramp, which allows for a much more gradual transition.
So, let's take our poor, jerky car and put this gentle ramp to the test. Let's see exactly how it fixes the problem and smooths out the ride.
The secret sauce here is something called a membership function. Now, that sounds super technical, but it's really not. All it does is answer the question, how much? So instead of asking, is the car fast, yes or no, we can now ask, on a scale from 0 to 1, how fast is it?
For instance, let's say we're going 42 kilometers per hour. The car's computer doesn't just panic and label it fast. No, under our new fuzzy rule, its degree of fastness is only about a 0.2. It's just a little bit fast. So the AI knows to maybe just tap the brakes, gently. Then, as we speed up to 45, that degree of fastness might rise to 0.5. Okay, now we're moderately fast, and the AI's response can scale up right along with it, maybe applying a little more brake pressure. And by the time we hit 48, the degree is up to 0.8. We're definitely getting close to being fully fast now. But you see what happened? There were no sudden jumps, no jerky movements. It was just a smooth, intelligent adjustment. And this visualizes that gentle ramp perfectly. As the car's speed goes up, its degree of fastness climbs smoothly right alongside it. This gives the AI a much richer, more nuanced picture of what's happening, so it can react in a way that actually makes sense.
Okay, so a smooth ride in a smart car is awesome, but the implications of fuzzy logic are so much bigger than just that. Why does this whole idea of fuzziness really matter?
Look, fuzzy logic is a total game changer. It gives machines the tools to handle the real world's uncertainty, and you've almost certainly used it without even realizing it. You know how a modern washing machine can sense not just if your clothes are dirty, but how dirty they are, and then adjust everything perfectly? That's fuzzy logic. It's the same magic in a camera's autofocus. It is a massive step towards building AI that can reason more like we do.
And that really leaves us with this huge, fascinating question. We've managed to teach our machines to go from a world of yes or no to a world of sort of and a little bit. So as this technology gets even more sophisticated, what other human nuances, what other parts of our messy, complicated world will our machines finally begin to grasp?